cat interviews at Uber, Confluent, Indeed, and many, many more companies. I've seen it all. After countless hours on the other side of the table, I know exactly what top companies are looking for, especially in LLD. In this course, I'll share the insider blueprints, what to focus on, especially key design patterns, how much multi-threading, very important, counter question, traps, and how to tackle them confidently. This course is structured, practical, and tailored on what companies are looking for right now. Let's get you interview ready right now. Hello, hello, hello. Hi guys, good morning. Welcome back to my video. Ki hal chal? I hope you're doing good. In this, we're going to continue ahead with the LLD series and go on to the design vending machine. Now, the same format, the same structure as we have been following in the previous problems as well. The format and the structure will be that firstly, we'll discuss exactly what vending machine is for the folks who don't know. Then we'll go on to the actual interview setting in which how you can communicate, what all stuff you can discuss, and then we'll go on to the corresponding entities, design patterns, and see that how we can incorporate that. Again, I will show you many more things which you will not implement in an interview. You can verbally tell whatever I'm telling, but please don't take a risk of implementing everything, else you will get diverted from the actual main thing. And again, we'll discuss the entire code. Again, this can be very long because we'll discuss on very specific design pattern here, which is the kind of the root of this, and then ultimately we'll go to some extensibility part. Cool. Let's start off with actually what a vending machine is. For the folks who might have seen, again, I'm guessing obviously everyone would have seen vending machine. Something it looks like this, that it has some shelves, and there is like for each item there's individual shelf, and in each shelf, and again you have some kind of box here, a digital display here where you can choose some items, add some shelf, and you can actually put up your card or coin, or maybe you can have a scanner as well. Like right now there are many latest stuff coming in, but if you go on the ancient times, you used to insert coins, and then you used to choose an item. Like there used to be buttons here, 1 2 3 4, like 1 2 3 4, like this. There should be button, like there used to be buttons here, and with those buttons in mind, you just clicked it, you just insert coins here, it used to get out, and then you just take that item and then take the remaining coins back home. Again, same way how a ATM machine works, exactly roughly same thing. It's just that you are now kind of choosing an item here. Okay, for the folks who don't know, just you can just go and watch vending machine, any like a video of how vending machine actually is being used, for the folks who have never even touched or seen a vending machine. Now, coming on, we know exactly what is happening. So in this machine, we have many products. So this machine is maintaining a product inventory. So I have many products and these are maintained. So I can say, okay, I will manage a product inventory. I will have customers which will come in. And again, for the folks who don't know, people, as in customers, as in we, us, can go and access any vending machine. We just need to have some coins or some cash or something of that sort. So my customers, as in users, will come and they will choose some products. I will give them those products. I will obviously allow them to process payments. Again, right now, let's going on to the ancient times where we only had coins in mind. Now it is more advanced. You can literally scan QR codes. You can do a UPI payment. You can do card payment and many other things. And obviously, as the payment is processed, I will dispense the products to them. This is kind of how a vending machine would look like. Now, obviously, vending machine will have beverages, snacks, literally a lot of products. And also, I can just say that each product will have its ID, name, price, category, quantity, and so on and so forth. And I have to manage this inventory, which means that I should make sure I'm maintaining the product inventory. For me, imagine that again. For if you guys don't remember that we did this design inventory management system, right? It's kind of a warehouse. But right now, for me as a small person, for me this is my warehouse. Inventory is actually my warehouse. So I have to kind of maintain that thing. Cool. Now obviously, in any of the machine, it goes through some couple of states. Initially, it is idle, then it is ready, then you choose an item, then you do the payment, then the item is dispensed, and then maybe if let's say it is not working, it is let's say in the maintenance state or exit state, something of that sort. Obviously, I wanted to accept literally all the things because it's kind of advanced right now, and I should dispense item only when I get the money back. Like I get the money, and obviously I should prevent dispensing or even allowing the corresponding payment to be processed if there is no item. and also the transactions and all that stuff should be valid. Maintaining our maintenance mode should also be taken into consideration. Now, this is an entire idea of what an inventory machine is, or what an what a vending machine is. Now, let's come on to the actual interview setting. How exactly things can happen? The interview simply mentioned design a vending machine. Now, as I have been mentioning, and I will not go deep into it, as I have been mentioning in all the previous videos as well, that enact the process. If you don't know, whatever I did in the very beginning was literally inaction of the process. What I did, if you remember, firstly, I imagine I am the owner. Then I will have an inventory where I will have different shelves in which each item will have its own shelf. I will place some items here. And again, when I say some items, I mean like same category items, usually they are placed. And then I will set up this thing and I will go home. Then a user will come up, he will look at my entire this thing inventory, or I can say vending machine. User will choose a location, let's say 2. He will enter that. He will put up the coins, let's say he put up 15 rupees. Then this machine will process it, process the payment, get the product out, give the product to the person, and the person will happily go home. And again, if there is some change, let's say if he had 100 rupees, but the item was of 75 rupees, then obviously I can incorporate that change mechanism, that giving that change back to the user. And then he will go home happily with taking item and his change back. So this is inaction of the entire process. And I highly recommend you enact it. But enacting and writing every line by line will be very hard. So we write it in a concise manner of the inaction of the process. Now, there are a couple of caveats here, which I will obviously discuss as I will go ahead. But I'll also at the same time will tell that how to handle that verbally in an interview, and also that you will see in future we are kind of not handling change as such in this, but no worries, we will discuss ATM machine. In that we will be handling that as well. Again, my primary motive here is that we are covering a very important design pattern, which is state design pattern in this, and also verbally telling about all the caveats as we are going ahead. Right? Okay, let's go ahead with actually just writing our entire inaction down as a form of statements. Obviously, I have a system which manages the products, and again, inside my vending machine. Now, my users can browse, select, and purchase my corresponding items. I will make sure that I'm not dispensing products which are not available, or even asking them for payments for the products which are not available. I'll have right now coin based payments. Again, although I will tell you line by line how exactly you can make it extensible for your any payment method, and also as you have been following, as soon as the word payments comes in, we know that we can have a payment processor and a payment strategy design pattern incorporated, as in like, strategy design pattern incorporated, just so as to smoothen that strategy. And obviously, I will transition through different states. Now, because it has a lot of states associated with it, which we also saw in the very beginning, we'll see them again. That is the reason this problem is primarily revolving around state design pattern. Other design patterns I will tell also, and we'll also discuss strategy as well in the extensibility part, but these are secondary, and the primary one will be the state one. Others you can incorporate if you have time. Although verbally, I highly recommend always discuss things verbally, no matter what. So the candidate will ask that are there any expectation of some other kind of products, and is should be a coin based system, and is there any specific states which we are about to manage. So a kind of closed ended question and open ended question. So obviously we should handle multiple product types. That's the main thing, because obviously it's an inventory machine. So you should handle it. I should handle the coin based payments right now. Because again, as I mentioned, this is not more of a strategy design pattern question. Again, you can incorporate whenever you have, any payments coming up. You can always incorporate a strategy design pattern there. But in this case, as I mentioned, we have to focus on state because the entire code of state itself is very long. And if you keep on going on to the not so important stuff, you will divert from the most important stuff. Okay, coming on back. Now, obviously, I have to manage the state transitions. Now, the person didn't tell me, the interview didn't tell me what exactly the state transitions. I have to guess that by myself. So I'll summarize all the points, and then again, when I say summarize, I mean whatever points I had versus whatever points the interview gave, just clubbing them up and going ahead. Going ahead with, as we have been seeing previously as well, the entire structure pattern of all the lectures are same as what we have been doing previously. We will figure out some main entities, then we will go on to the main design patterns, then we will club both of them to make our corresponding class diagram. Again, that is always we do as a bottom up approach. It is much more easier, and then we will start writing the actual implementation. Cool, let's go ahead. So firstly, as we were saying in the very beginning itself, we have a inventory. Inventory is nothing but items inside my vending machine. Obviously, each inventory is built up of individual shelves. I can say item shelves. This is one item shelf. This is another item shelf. This is another item shelf. This is another item shelf, right? And then each item shelf will obviously have some item. And just so that my filtering process is easy, I can give a couple of enums to them, item type, item category, and so on and so forth. Again, all this enum classification, all that we had already seen in inventory and cart enter system as well. It just makes the selection of categories easier for my upcoming user, if in future, even if I wanted. So I will do the same thing. I will have item, item type, and item shelf, right? Item type, and item shelf. That will be inside my inventory. So this is actually my inventory, which will be containing all the item shelves, or I should say items ultimately. Because item shelves will contain items. Items will be of type item type. Inventory will contain my item shelf. You see that all these are literally linked. And then right now, as we are only managing or considering right now coins, we are going old school right now. For old school way, we'll just simply say that, bro, let's handle coins. Again, I just want to give coins of different categories, 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 20 rupees, and so on and so forth. So I'll just give that coins for us as well. Okay, we have discussed main entities. Anything else? Obviously, let's go on to some specific design patterns here. So I will have state management, that is primarily very important. Next, obviously, I can have right now coin payment, but I will make sure that I will have different payment processing strategies. I can do card, UPI, because right now you will see if you go into airport or even metros and stuff. Again, I'm not sure which metro you guys know, but in my area we have RRTS, and that's actually having vending machine inside the metro. So yeah, obviously we can have inventory tracking. Now whenever I say tracking, all that stuff, you must have guessed it right. Yes, it can be done by a observer design pattern. Again, obviously state management can be done by state design pattern. Again, if you're not know about any of these design pattern, I'll highly recommend please go and watch the course in sequence. You will get everything down. Coming on back, payment processing can be done by strategy design pattern. Okay, handling errors and error handling, again, although usually, and not usually, but always in production code basis, we do error handling by having correct exceptions, making our own exceptions and all that stuff, and throwing the correct exceptions, and not randomly exiting a code, or not just doing a S out. No, they are proper loggers, they are proper exceptions, but we are not concerned about them right now. It's just that verbally I can tell that about error handling and maintenance, but not necessarily I will include that in my code base. Now, coming on that, how I will use it, I will use my state design pattern for my machine states. Obviously, in the very beginning, it is in the ready state. Again, if you're confused on how these states interact with each other, no worries. I will show you exactly the entire state design pattern diagram. Cool. Now I will have my item selected. I will have, because obviously I'll have my payment pending, dispensing state, maintenance state, and so on and so forth. Again, we'll see exactly how these states transitions. And also, I will make sure that I'm not going on to any invalid state. Now, next, I could incorporate strategy pattern for payments as we have been doing for literally last 5 or 6 LLD problems. Exactly same thing for payments. It can be coin, card, mobile, UPI, so on and so forth. Right now, we will implement by coin, but I will also parallelly show extensibility to other strategies. Along with in the future, as in the extensibility portion in this end of the lecture, we'll also be seeing the entire payment strategy as well. Although at the same time, we can incorporate singleton as well, because we just want that all the operations of vending machine should be handled by one person, or there should be one instance of it. Again, we had discussed that while we were discussing inventory and car rental as well. We will have, or we can have, observer design pattern for inventory alert. Okay, if my inventory has gone down in storage, then I will literally have an in like just saying, okay, bro, please get this stuff out. That also we discussed in inventory management system. Obviously, I can have factory as well. Again, might be overkill. As in the previous lecture, also we have seen that when we're creating vehicles for our car rental system and all that stuff. Same way here, I can use a factory to create products. Same thing we actually literally saw for inventory management. Right now, you might say, "Aaron, what's the difference between inventory management and a vending machine?" So, vending machine is just kind of a small inventory. Inventory management system is a very big inventory, handling a lot of stuff. So, yeah, there's a small caveat here. Cool. Now, again, although you can also incorporate state design pattern and inventory management system as well, but it's vending machine is much more short, concise, small, and that's the thing. So we know that we can incorporate factory, observer, singleton, strategy, and state. But will we do all of them? No. We will focus only and only on state. And maybe if we get time, we can incorporate strategy or payments. Now, let's go ahead with actually making our corresponding class diagram. As I was mentioning, that state is the very most important thing. So obviously, I will have a vending machine state. Now, if at any point you get confused on the state design pattern and you might say, Aryan, what is this state? Why is there a context associated with it? If you have any of these kind of doubts, please make sure that you have covered these design patterns in depth, and especially state design pattern. Again, go and read the article, or if you want, you can actually go and watch the video. Totally your take. If you want to read the article and go through it. If you want, okay, you can come back and then watch the video. Coming on back, we realize that we will have the corresponding state associated, and obviously we have different states. We have a selection state, a dispense state, out of stock state, ideal state, has money state. Again, you will see that we should ideally have a has change state, as in giving the change back also a state here. But again, keeping it kind of simple, short, concise, so that we can wrap up in time in an actual interview is the primary deal here. I can literally make more states, but unnecessarily don't jump onto it. The best part is it is extensible. So I can anytime just modify 1, 2, 3 lines and incorporate or add any new state in future. So as I mentioned that there we have, let's say we don't have any give change back state. Let's say give change back state. I can just literally add that give change back state after my dispense state easily. Although I will show you as well as you go ahead. But apart from state design pattern, which obviously took my interface of state and also a context, as I mentioned, that I will be having an item which will be lying inside an item shelf, and that item shelf, list of item shelves, will be making up an inventory. Right? This is all these three entities which we saw in the very beginning. So no brainer on that part. Cool. Now, again, just to keep it simple, we have wrapped it up. So I have a state. I have this state here, and again, couple of enums, which again, totally your choice, your shraddha, your astha. Now, let's come on to the actual state diagram, that how the states will transition. So as we were saying that in the very beginning, it's an ideal state. So vending machine is right now, no one is touching it. It's in the ideal state. Now what will happen? Again, let's say this is the display board, or this is the place where you put up coins. Now, obviously, it will have corresponding shelves associated to it. Cool. Now, what will happen? That it will remain in the ideal state, right? It can remain in the ideal state, or you will insert some coins. As you insert some coins, you will land onto a as money state. Now, you might insert 5 rupees to it, and then let's say 10 rupees to it. So you can insert more coins considering you are at the same state. So I can insert more coins and it will remain in the same state. Or else I can start my product selections. I inserted my 5 rupees and then I wanted only a toffee. So I'll do a product selection. Or maybe I, let's say, just did the corresponding selection and I want, okay, now I inserted the money, but now my mood is changed. I want to get out. So yeah, I can get the refund as well back. It's completely fine. It's possible. Now, if I click on the start product selection, I will be at a selection state where I will be choosing stuff. Let's say if I choose a product, good. If not, then I will stay. Like again, the machine will remain in the selection state until unless I choose some product. Because I might cancel that. Again, maybe I want to get a refund, I want to get back to our ideal state. So again, if you're going back to ideal state, you can actually transition the refund as you're going back from these states, right? It's like that. Okay, completely reimburse the entire money what the person was about to buy. Now, if I choose a product, my product got selected and I will dispense that product out, which means dispensing the product. And again, product got dispensed and I reach back to ideal state. Now you might say that Aryan, it might happen that I would have had 100 rupees and then I want to give back a change. Yes. So what can happen that as soon as you dispense, you can have another state in which you will just put that entire process to another state by saying give change back state. And that's only an addition in which only two states, like kind of after dispense, you will just add a link to the get change back state, and from get change back state, if there is nothing, then I can go back to the ideal state. There's simply just very small addition. Again, all that we this also getting the amount back, we'll also discuss in the ATM machine. But again, that's not a big deal right now here, because primarily we just wanted, okay, let's say if I inserted a money, okay, I got my product back, and primarily a couple of states are more than good enough for you to actually skim through it or go through it. Again, you can literally have a lot of states. I can literally keep all these states separately as well. I can have made more than 5-6 states, but still, it's kind of taking a middle ground between getting to a completion and getting to a correct point. Now, what else? What if you don't have any inventory for that specific item? Okay, I'll just simply say it is out of stock state, or I can maybe retry at the same point, and if I get the stock back, I can come back to ideal state. It can be for individual product as well. Then I can handle it here, and I will not allow them to go to the out of stock state. So let's see how we'll implement it. So let's see. Firstly, as I mentioned, that we will have some item which will be having some item type. More necessarily for the selection of an item. So I'll just say item type can be, let's say, Coke, Pepsi, juice, soda, and so on and so forth. It can be a broad category of item type as well. Let's say chips, biscuits, cookies, let's say waffles, and so on and so forth. Now, obviously, an item will be of an item type and will have its own attributes. A couple of basic attributes like price, type, and all that stuff. Now, item shelf will be built up of some list of items. As I was mentioning, in a vending machine, you have one item shelf which will have some list of items. Again, these are of the same category, so you can ideally put up a number as well. Number of or count of items. You can keep one item and then count of them. But technically, it's completely fine that you maintain a list of items because you are just simply iterating on all of those items. Now, again, its own corresponding getters and setters. In an actual interview, I never recommend to write it down. You can either use loan book if allowed. If not, then just tell the interviewer, okay, we will come on back if required. Now, coming on that, we will have coin, which right now we have taken, we have specifically taken a coin entity because right now we are only focusing on the state design pattern. So we are saying that the person will insert coin. So I have, 1 rupee, 2 rupee, 5 rupee, 10 rupee coin. Let's say I'm just, or again, you obviously have 20 rupees and all that stuff coin as well. But again, right now we're just going ahead with these. Now comes the main part, which is the inventory. Inventory right now will say that, bro, inventory will be built up of different item shelves. Again, this is the same thing which we have been telling in the very beginning as well. So I will initialize my inventory with the corresponding item shelf. Now I can initialize my empty inventory. I can add item in my inventory. I can get item from my inventory. I can update my sold out item. I can remove the item. Again, these are a couple of very normal basic stuff which we can do on top of my inventory itself. Now, I could have had an inventory manager which could actually take a request and then propagate that request to individual inventory. That's also completely fine. Again, I will also tell that as I go on ahead in future that ideally in a production code base you could have had an inventory manager which will actually manage and put up all these items, like adding the actual items and stuff. Now, what else? Obviously, the main part, vending machine state. So it will have simply one thing: go to the next state. And again, if you are concerned, Arun, what is this context, how to write this state, and how would I know that it will have just next as a method? Just go and watch the state design pattern video as I was telling previously. Just go and watch this video, or just read the article. Coming on back, we will know that we'll go on to the concrete state, but before that, we know that we have this context, which will ideally handle the transition between different states. Okay, we have different states, but to transition between them, we have a context or a handler, which will do that transition between different states. And that is what my context is. Now, in this case, just to keep the code short and concise and true, like to the point of this current problem, I have kept many things inside the context class itself. Should it be done like that? Obviously not. In an interview, you ideally have one vending machine controller, which should ideally handle context, inventory manager, and a payment processor. You will see right now we have coin, inventory we are handling in the context itself. But as I mentioned that we have to focus on entirely these state. We have to kind of focus on only this part primarily. So it's okay. It's okay for now just to incorporate these also here. But ideally, in an actual production code base, we could have had a controller in which all these individually are handled separately by this. And they have their own individual tasks which they are managing. Cool. And again, as I mentioned, verbally telling it and then writing it down. Again, if the person is very highly concerned, okay, write it down. Okay, make a corresponding class for it, make corresponding individual class for it, and then focus on this class only. This is also how you can go about it. But if you want a working code, obviously you can just put up these things as well inside your context. So right now, inside my context itself, I have put up my inventory. Now, as I was mentioning, ideally, inventory should have handled by an inventory controller or an inventory manager. But right now, again, we want to focus on the main part. So we took up, or we just wanted to actually work on the actual problem. So we took on and just say a context actually handle the inventory itself. Cool. So we'll see, okay, like it's handling inventory. I have also the list of points. Ideally, as I mentioned previously as well, it should be handled by a payment processor, which will actually make sure that I'm going to a payment strategy and then calling my actual payment, which again, we will see that in the later portion as well, that I will incorporate a payment strategy here, which will actually handle the case of payments. But yeah, right now we have had all these things inside my context. Ideally, context should ideally handle the state, which means manage the current state and transition between different states. So obviously this should be a main method. Like this should be the primary method inside my context, vending machine context, which is get the current state, and then come the main part, advanced state, which means go to next state. So what happens here? I will go and check what is the current state and I will just ask for the next. This is the actual individual concrete states. I'll call the next method and then I will go on to and I will pass the context here. If you got confused with this line, again go back and check the check the state design pattern video. Now, obviously, I will put my current state as new state of next state, and then again, any logger statement you can put up. Now, obviously, the transition between different states So ideally, vending machine controller would have had this, the person, basically this will have corresponding an API interface where the user will be entering stuff, and this will be asking the controller or the context to, perform the corresponding operations. But yeah, here let's say we are saying that as the coin is inserted, I am right now either at the ideal state or at the has money state. Again, all this ties back to the state pattern or state diagram which we saw earlier. If it's the ideal or the has many state, I'll simply say, bro, either you can add more coins and you can advance to a next state. Now, as I say advance to next state, I can simply say that, okay, bro, if you have a money and then if you have that money, then okay, it's good that you can advance to the next state and you can choose the product. Now, if you are at a selection stage, then I will check the balance which you have entered. If it is less, sorry, bro, it's a insufficient balance. If not, then I will select that item. I will go to the next state and I will dispense that item. When I say go to the next state, I will obviously go to a dispense state. Now, obviously, whenever I say dispense item, I will check if I'm at a dispense state. So again, this is called as defensive coding. Defensive coding says that although you know that you will be only calling this from a specific method, but still also have those if conditions that your code is more robust. Now, we'll simply check that, okay, simply remove this item from the inventory, update the sold item, reset the balance. Now, again, this reset function right now, you will see if I go down, this reset, okay, like it's just resetting the corresponding coin list, whatever I'm getting. But obviously, I should handle the change also, like whenever I'm dispensing the item, I can handle the change gracefully. Right now, we are expecting that, okay, we'll just consume the entire amount of money and we expect the user to put up that amount, but again verbally we can tell, not necessarily, because again to write all this code itself is actually very tricky to do it in a short time. So please make sure that you achieve the target and then you can do improvements on top of it. It's very easy to do an improvement of just adding one more change, give change back state. Coming on back, we'll advance to the next state and then that's it. Again, these are a couple of helper methods which we can use, updating the inventory. As we update the inventory, I'll just check if I'm at the ideal state. Oh bro, group, oh bro, good. I'll just simply update the corresponding inventory, whatever I have. And again, couple of helper methods which we can simply and anytime use it. Incorporate more helper methods, totally to your choice. Now, what else? Obviously, we have the concrete states. So let's come on to the concrete states. We have ideal state. For any state, their primary method is next method, which will actually say that how it should proceed to the next state. So I'll just check if I don't have any item from ideal state, I'll move on to the out of stock state. If I don't if my coin list is not empty, I should ideally move to has money state, or else I will remain at my current state. Simple stuff, right? If I'm at ideal state, if I don't have stock, go to out of stock state. If I have money, go to has money state. If nothing, then stay here. As simple as that. Now, if I have a money, then I will check. If I don't have any item, go to out of stock state. If I don't have any money, go to ideal state. If I have a money, then I can just simply go to a selection state. Else, I will just simply remain here. Now, again, this simply can be catered in terms of if you want to enter multiple amount and then ask the user to just to put the corresponding selection and then go to the corresponding selection state. Same way for selection state, I will check, bro, as we are going next. Make sure that if you don't have any item out of stock state, if you don't have any money, then obviously ideal state. Again, all these are safety checks also. If if you have chosen some item, then obviously go to a dispense state. If not, then allow him to stay at the selection state and allow him to choose an item right now. Obviously, now I will go to dispense state. Now, as I mentioned that as I am dispense state, I will simply dispense the item, dispense corresponding item, whatever I had, and I will go back to ideal state. Obviously, here as well, as I was mentioning, I can have a get change back state, which I can seamlessly integrate or club it up. Now, out of stock state will simply say that, bro, simply if you have got an item, just simply go back to idle state. If not, stay at the out of stock state. Now, the main function will simply look like that. I primarily right now have my vending machine context. As I was mentioning previously, a ideal production code base could look like vending machine controller, which is internally handling vending machine context, inventory, vending machine context, inventory controller or inventory manager, and a payment processor. But again, because of time constraints and because of whatever we have to achieve as a primary goal, we should make sure that we are sticking up to the corresponding point. So just put up everything inside the context itself right now. So I'll simply say that again, these are some of the helper methods. Just fill up the inventory and display the inventory. All that we can keep inside my vending machine handler, or I should say, inventory handler or inventory manager or inventory controller. I can keep that. So, fill up the inventory and display the inventory. Although you will see I have put up here itself to display the inventory right now, just displaying the corresponding inventory, and let's say fill up the inventory, right? But again, as I mentioned previously, all that can go and give and can be given a task to my inventory manager, inventory controller, who will do that. Now what I will do, I will just prompt the user to insert the coins. Let's say the user will insert the corresponding 5 and 10 coins. Then let's say the user will do a product selection, so he will click on the start product selection. When he actually click on the product, I will just simply give that product to the person, dispense it, and give it to the person. Again, right now I'm not giving him any change as of now because we don't have that logic, but it will be very easy to integrate that. Now, obviously, display it back and all set, all done, all good. Cool. What else? Obviously, we're able to achieve a very good and very big code base, very good code. And if you want to just add that payment method, because right now, let's say if you're advancing and we want entirely new payment strategy, we want UPI, we want card, cash, all that stuff, then we can simply say that, bro, having a payment strategy in place, we have a coin, we have a card payment strategy. What else for it to do? Nothing much, just having an interface. Exactly, this is exactly same as what literally we have been seeing in all the past problems. Exact same payment strategy, that it will simply have one thing: process payments of that specific amount. And I can have a coin payment strategy which will incorporate that list of coins which you are guessing, right? And then same way we'll have a card payment strategy, and same way we can have another payment like debit card, UPI, PayPal, and so on and so forth. The change right now in the current code base will be that in my context, I will simply say that, bro, rather than getting the actual coins, now you take the actual payment strategy itself. And obviously, I will go and process that payment. And when I say I will obviously have a button on top of my machine which will say that the person has to choose a card or a cash or a UPI. Because obviously, for cash, you insert a cash. For a UPI, I have to show him a QR code. For a card, I will ask him to insert the card at that location. So literally, for all of these, I will have to show them a button, or do that, click that, and only then you do that process. So I have to have that separate methods or separate like buttons for all of them. So that's the reason I have a separate button that get accept the card payment, and same way I can have it for coin and UPI as well. Now, what else? How to use it? Obviously, my kind of dispense state will change by saying that just setting the payment strategy to null. Because if you remember earlier, we were setting corresponding coins to empty list and all that stuff. Now we're just saying, okay, just get me the payment strategy null. Again, as I mentioned previously as well, I can just simply add one more liner for just change, giving back the change logic as well. And with that in mind, the only change which we could do in my main is just asking for the payment method, whatever the person wants, and then asking them to choose an item and then dispense the item correspondingly and display the corresponding item back for them to continue. Cool. I hope you guys read it. Again, it is extensible. Considering you can add multiple states. Obviously, any real life system is much more complex than that. And as I mentioned, you can literally incorporate other design patterns, for example, observer, for example, singleton, for example, obviously strategy. Here we already included all that again, along with factory as well. You can do that. inside your corresponding code base. But I hope you guys liked it. See you next video. Then goodbye, take care. And you, when you will watch this entire thing in a sequence, you will start relating. There are many and a hell lot of stuff which relate with each other. And if you're just watching this video and you find it a bit hard or maybe a bit fast, please go and watch in series sequence, and then you will find it pretty easy and repetitive as well. Cool. Bye bye. Take care. I hope you guys find it useful. Make sure that with the like target of 250 likes. See you next one. Goodbye. Take care.